Hi, and welcome to the KCC Director's Chair. I'm your host, Erick Alvarez, and I'll be introducing you to and speaking with some of the top AV and radio students about their films and radio tracks. So grab some popcorn, settle into your seat, and join me in the Director's Chair. I'd like to start by thanking you guys for joining me and discussing your short film. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Well, my name is Erick Thompson, and I'm a filmmaker.
My name is Braylon Hall, and I am a writer, producer, director, and director of photography.
All right, thank you guys. Now, could you guys kind of explain what goes on during a skills competition?
Well, we got here, it was a Saturday, and we had 8 hours to put together a whole film from
storyboard, scripting, all of that. So we had to put together the entire project within a limited amount of time, which in itself is very challenging to do.
Would you guys like to kind of elaborate on those obstacles and trials that you faced during the competition?
One of the main problems that we faced was camera, which any production that you go into, you will have obstacles, and stuff like that you have to face. But the main one for us was the camera. For about 30 minutes, we did not have a functioning camera.
Were there any kind of things that you had planned for your film that you maybe had to change or take a different direction because of obstacles that you faced?
Wow. Coming in, we kind of planned out everything that, we could do, right? But everything went south because we wanted to use the black magic, but we had problems with that. We had to switch cameras, and after that we had problems with the lens. We had to get different lens. We had a problem with the battery. We had to redo that. Actually, multiple scenes in there we had to go reshoot again. So the whole day, everything was just filled with obstacles and problems that we had to overcome.
I can remember specifically there was this one shot of Tariq that I really, really wanted. It was kind of like a tracking shot of me following him walking into the woods.
Right.
But when we came back to the editor, it was just, I was sitting there for a while and I realized it wasn't going to work for the movie, so you kind of had to kill your darlings there.
Mm-hmm. Are there, aside from the kind of the changes that you had to make and the plan Bs, I guess, that you had to go through, were there any parts of your film that you especially liked, or any just camera techniques or story elements or shots or anything at all that you guys felt really particularly proud of?
My favorite part was the beginning of the movie, when you see Tariq and he's kind of on the ground and he's yelling at God and he's angry. Filming it wasn't necessarily fun, but when I got back, it really paid off when I looked at it in the final cut.
Right. Anytime I played for family members or friends, they say that part you really felt it's powerful, right? It's gripping, and that scene I think really contributed to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, before we look at your guys' short film, would you like to give a brief synopsis of what it's about?
Sure. So basically, there are two brothers. One of the brothers has a heart condition and his heart is failing him. And it has a very heavy emotional toll on the other brother. And our prompt was courage. And initially I was afraid that, our film was going to be really abstract and that the judges weren't going to be able to extract that prompt out of our film. But basically, throughout the course of the film, the brother with the heart condition realizes that, his unwillingness to live makes the emotional toll on his brother even worse.
It's harming.
It's doing more harm, than it should. And after realizing how much, harm that it does to his brother, he has to try to find the courage to live.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and now we will take a look at Braylon and Tariq's Skills USA short film.
doctor said I died in my sleep. It took him 45 minutes to revive me. Next time, you need to let me stay dead.
You know I can't do that, man. You know I can't do that.
I can't keep living like this. I can't keep dying like this.
That's so selfish, man. You're my brother. You're the only thing I got left.
You can't afford this. Not without getting yourself into trouble.
Don't worry about it. Don't even stress it, man. Don't worry about it, man.
You're a selfish god, you know that? Oh, take my brother away from me? You want my heart that don't even work? Ah!
You alright, man?
Yeah.
Sure.
What you got there? I want to live. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right.
Thank you guys for joining me. Would you please introduce yourselves?
I'm Cassie Greer.
And I'm Dominic Carozza.
What films do you think you look to for inspiration on a regular basis?
Well, I mean, film as a whole, there's like a lot of inspiration you can take from it. Like, I mean, directors are so versatile with what they create. Like, you could have like the super artsy ones like Wes Anderson or like action-packed ones like David Fincher. But I mean, a personal favorite of mine is Wes Anderson, so I take a lot from that. But also you can pull a lot from YouTubers too, like Casey Neistat and everything. So I guess it's like a mix of what you're feeling.
Casey Neistat, my guy.
Do any of those influences, do you think they show up in your skills project?
I mean, you can definitely see the YouTube style in our film project because we use a lot of match cuts, we use a lot of like close-ups and everything, and it was just focused on one person versus like a whole cast of people. So I guess you can see like the independence of it.
Would you guys like to tell me what your short film's about?
So we had the same prompt of courage, and we were trying to think of a way where you can do that with limited space, limited ideas for like sets, and limited characters. So we came up with an idea that we could do with 1 or 2 characters, and we had this high school football player who's also a writer, and he's into this girl, and he's trying to find the inspiration to kind of talk to her and get with her and stuff. And he just starts writing about it. He writes about his feelings, and he finds this letter from his football coach that talks to him about courage and inspiration and leadership. And it kind of sparks that courage in him and gives him the inspiration to follow through with that.
Nice. Were there any difficulties you guys experienced during your production?
Our biggest difficulty was probably just the lack of time.
We totally like underestimated the time we needed to edit, and we were like rushing last minute with everything, but
There's a lot you can learn from. There's a lot you can learn from being controlled by the very limited amount of time we had.
yeah.
So
Yeah. How would you say that that the plan? How'd the plan change from starting in the writing phase and development phase to actually going out and popping things in to edit?
So Dominic actually thought of the idea of like the first minute he heard the prompt, he was like, Cassie, I've got the idea. Like, so we were like, from like the first minute we were already writing the idea, but it took a little like while to figure out what we were going to connect it to with courage. So I mean that was probably the biggest roadblock. And then it took us like 45 minutes to find where we were going to shoot, because we needed like someplace empty but not like we needed someplace where it can like look like a realistic classroom setting but where there was no people or anything, so that took a while.
yeah, the two biggest problems was first finding the location. There weren't many options for locations because we had several teams stuck in this one school building. And then there were a lot of things that we initially planned to do, kind of stylistic choices that we had to cut from editing just because of lack of time. So that kind of took down a bit.
Altogether, with the obstacles and the changes that had to come in the film, how do you feel about what you guys produced?
I mean, I was pretty happy with it. Like, it all came together in the end, and even though we were super rushed, it told a fluid story, which is what we wanted, and it looked really good cinematically too.
Yeah, the story came through exactly how we wanted it to. We still got a bunch of artsy kind of shots in there. We didn't get everything we wanted to get in, but it still came out really well as a whole.
That's great. So thank you guys for joining me. And now let's play Cassie and Dom's short film for Skills USA.
Have you ever wanted something so badly, but never had the courage to chase it? You know it's close, you know it's possible, but you don't know how to take the first step. In my life, things have always came easily. Sports, academics, success, but yet, not love. And that's how I feel about her. The way I could watch her for a single moment and find 1,000 things I love about her. And that's what I like about pictures. They're proof that, at least for a moment, everything was okay. I love this girl. Maybe it's her blue eyes, the way they pull me in like the ocean tide. Maybe it's her laugh, which just makes me want to tell jokes forever. Or maybe it's just the way that she makes me feel, like everything can be perfect for longer than just one frame.
As you know, this is the last year I can call myself your coach. But you should know that I've never been more proud of any team, and especially its captain. The leadership and courage you've shown in these past years is inspiring. And I know you can continue to hold the team together in the future without fear. Courage doesn't mean you get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. These are important traits to carry throughout your life in any struggles you may encounter. Your courage continues to inspire people and will continue to guide you and the people you surround yourself with. Understand that life isn't always what you're given, it's what you create and what you overcome and can achieve.
Thank you guys for joining us. Would you like to please introduce yourself?
I'm Christopher Lizardi.
I'm Tanner Toland.
All right. Would you guys like to just start us off by giving a synopsis of what your film's about?
Well, our film was about this guy. It was centered around this guy who was like struggling in his head with the idea of trying to reconcile with his brother. Like in the film, we showed that they had a fight. We don't really talk about what it's about, but we didn't really have the time to shoot that or show that. But it's mostly about him trying to find the courage in reconciling with his brother, and having, being able to say I'm sorry. And that was like our prompt. Our prompt was courage. So we were trying to show the courage of a brother trying to reconcile with a family member. Yeah.
So two brothers had a fight, and it starts with the brother coming into the school, which is presumed to be any place but a school, really. But the dude is, freaking out and everything, and it's because he just, had a fight with his brother, and he walked out all upset and everything, and now he's trying to figure out what to do and how to say sorry and everything. He's going through the emotions and the grief, and eventually finally says that he's sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, earlier you mentioned time. I assume that was your guys' biggest obstacle, would you say?
Yes, actually, I had texted Tanner the night before saying, okay, so we're gonna have a time frame for everything. We're gonna have like an hour to write the script. We're gonna storyboard it within 40 minutes. We're gonna shoot in like 2-3 hours. We're gonna edit it in like however much time we need, and we'll find the music throughout that time too. And writing the story took us about 2-3 hours. Yeah.
It was about 2 hours and a few minutes,
Yeah, a couple minutes. Yeah, and then shooting, we only have like an hour to do that because
shooting was all over the place.
Yeah, shooting was
we could.
Yeah, because I remember when we were editing, we realized, oh, crud, we need more shots. And
I
so
sent them out I said, oh, we forgot to get that. I said, here, have the camera, go get that while
yeah,
I finish editing this.
then look any weird, like just a guy recording himself in the middle of the hallway.
Now, you were talking about, getting into the editing phase and then realizing that there was stuff that didn't work or that you didn't have. So how important would you guys say getting the right cutaways are to making a film successful and flow well?
100%. Because really, we at first thought, oh, the audience can just guess what's going on. We just wanted like a shot of the guy walking into a puddle of water, and then just immediately cut to a door opening and him entering a building. But we realized that was way too jarring. We saw like that's crazy jarring, and so we had to like, after we finished shooting everything, we had to go back and reshoot that scene with him like walking to the door and actually opening the door, because the cutaway is really necessary to make your story flow 10 times better.
Yeah, we realized things just didn't flow how they should in a lot of the scenes, and we were like, oh, well, that's really bad, and we have to go get it right away. So we left a few times at the editing room and ran out to get our shots real quick.
Now, we just, we're talking about flow, and obviously that's a big part of a film is, taking the audience through something smoothly and pacing it out properly so that they're not getting stuff shoved down their throats or things aren't moving too slowly to where they lose interest. Besides flow, what other aspects of a film would you say are necessary to push it over the top and make it good?
The story, like without the story, the film isn't there. Like you need a good story. And I think we had a good story. We just couldn't translate that very well into film because we were rushing ourselves. We had the pressure on us, and so to me, really, story is everything. Like in a film, and Alfred Hitchcock even said that without the script, there is nothing.
We kind of went off a bit with dialogue. We used one line of dialogue, and it's a really jarring line, but we're realizing that a lot of things that we didn't tell the story with, we could have used quickly with dialogue, you know, but we didn't have the time to put in those special scenes that would be able to show it how we wanted to.
If you guys could go back to the project, are there any things in particular that you would like to change to make it better?
My acting, that's one, because of course we only had us for film. We brought in Dom from KCC and Dom's group to be my brother because Tanner needed to be on camera, and of course, and really my acting was just atrocious. And I also wish that we could have like in the pre-production of the film, we could have had like less time writing it, so we could have had more time shooting it, so we could have had more colorways, better colorways for our editing in the editing process. So yeah, I really do wish we would have had more time shooting since we only had like 6-7 hours basically.
I would have added more cutaways, like he said, and some more dialogue. I really enjoyed how it went without most of the dialogue and everything. But I feel like now, looking back at it, it would have been really easy to clear things up with a little bit more dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys. So now let's watch Chris and Tanner's Skills USA short film.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Braylon Hall, sitting in for Erick Alvarez, and this is a Skills USA interview. Please introduce yourself, what grade you're in, and what school you go to.
I'm Erick Alvarez. I'm a junior at Harker Heights.
And I'm Dakota Widener. I'm a senior at Shoemaker High School.
What makes a film great to you?
I'd say, to me, the number one priority is story, and not just something that's really out there and I mean, not knocking anything that's, out there and kind of in the fantasy sort of sci-fi realm, but every story has to have something that grounds it, something that makes it relatable and understandable to the people watching it. And if it doesn't have that, it's just going to be completely missed. And so I think, for me, what makes a story great is to be able to, no matter what the story is, to be able to pick up on the parts that are grounded in real people problems and real people issues and things that are just relatable and understandable, and that really sucks me into a story.
I feel like the most important part of a film is, like he said, story, but I also feel like it's more about the theme. Like, what can I take away from the story? What can I learn from watching this film? How can I become a better person, or what can I learn? That's what I feel like is important about storytelling, because inside them they contain lessons. And I feel like any good film always has that lessons, and it's not just, I watch this thing and I have no new ideas, I have no thoughts about life. It's basically just a waste of time. So I feel like the most important part of a film is, like you said, story, but also it has to have story with a reason, with a theme.
All right. How did you apply those qualities to your Skills USA project?
Well, for our story, we wanted something, like I said, that is relatable and understandable, and something that, like Dakota said, had a message and a theme. And so for our skills story, what we wanted to focus on, of course the prompt is courage. We wanted to focus on the courage to cast aside negativity in oneself, to overcome your demons, and to have confidence and love for yourself. And so that was what our message was and how it related to the prompt. And I think it is something that is relatable to most people, especially around our age, who are going through big changes in their life and coming into new environments, going out into the world, and just experiencing all of the facets and highs and lows of high school. And so through that, a person gets worn, or often they find themselves having negative feelings or thoughts about themselves. And I think it was an important thing that both of us related to, that we felt that we could talk about and try to convey in our short film.
When I thought about courage, we immediately started thinking about how can we tell courage in a different way and in a new way. And so we bounced around with several different story ideas, and eventually we decided on an idea of how about a person having the courage in order to face their own demons. 20% of high school children are diagnosed with some form of mental illness, such as depression and anxiety. And so we wanted to find a way in order to amplify that, I feel, with an outside force that were an internal force in which constantly putting you down and is also a part of you. And so you have to find the courage in order to face that and said, you know what, no, I'm not going to listen to the bad part. I am who I am, and I am worthy of love. And so we wanted to focus on that angle of courage.
Other than that, what challenges did you face the day of the competition?
The biggest challenge, I think, was our own ambition. I feel like that was our biggest problem, our biggest struggle. We are both very
hard-headed.
Yes, we're both very hard-headed, but we get ahead of ourselves in the sense that we have good ideas, and then we built upon them. But then, with the time constraint, which was the next biggest issue, you got to find the balance between telling a good story while, doing it in the amount of time that you have, and really selling it in that time. And so I think those things together probably were our biggest struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had to. We're both, like we said, we're both very headstrong. We're both extremely vision driven. We both have strong visions for our films, and sometimes those visions don't exactly aren't exactly perpendicular. Sometimes they're completely parallel and they go off in different angles. So what we had to do is that we had to definitely work together. We had to give up some ideas. It was very much of a give and take. We had to learn to work together. But at the end, I feel like we made an acceptable film and that we can both be very proud of.
Thank you, Eric and Dakota, for sitting with us. Now let's take a look at their film.
Oh, you made a mistake right there. What, is that education suddenly eluding you?
It's just a simple mistake. I can fix it.
For now. You know, this would be a lot more fun with friends. Well, if you had any friends. No. You know, it's much too quiet right now. All alone. Except for me, of course. Maybe if you weren't such an awkward loser, we would have more friends. But no. You have to be so dumb and pathetic, and now you're stuck with me. You're a miserable little waste, and everybody knows it. There's nothing worthwhile for you. You have no reason, you have no real value. You're worthless. It's no wonder no one can even stand to look at you. Stupid. Everything you do is going to end in failure. Surprise.
Leave me alone.
Oh, I can't do that, Ben. I'm a part of you. Something you can never outrun.
You're not real!
Oh, I'm very real, Ben. Just like how every bad thought about yourself is real. You can't drown wickedness, Ben. They know how to swim a lot better than you do. Look at you. You're nothing. No one loves you. No one will ever love you.
You're wrong.
What?
I know what you are. You're a liar. Someone will love me.
Oh, really? Who?
Me.
How can you love yourself? Just look at you.
Well, I've been looking, and everywhere I've looked, I've seen your face. But all you were doing was hiding what was underneath. I am strong, I am smart, and I am kind.
You can't get rid of me that easily. I'll always be there in the back of your mind, reminding you what you really are.
You're right. I'll never truly get rid of you. And you'll always remind me about who I really am. How I am brave enough to be stronger than you'll ever be.
Thank you for joining us, and a special thanks to all of our student directors. If you'd like to see more from our AV and radio students, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Killeen Career Center. There you'll be able to see dozens of projects from all across the district. I'm Erick Alvarez, and I'll see you next time in the Director's Chair.